Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Welcome on into the Cleveland Guardians post-game show. G. Bush is in the building. Earl the Pearl is here with us as well. And we got Adam the Bull breaking out. He just got off vacation. But Bull, you're right into the situation. Let's get right off into the situation. What are your initial thoughts about the game? The Guardians lose 4-1 against the Yankees. They are down now 1-0 in the ALDS. What was your initial thoughts of this game, and how do you feel moving forward?
Okay, well, first of all, I'll go to the second part first because let's not overreact to one game. And I know some of it's overreacting to 3 games because the Guardians have not hit in the playoffs so far. I get it. Maybe they're not going to turn it around. Maybe they're going to go out with a whimper offensively. We'll see. But 3 games does not a season make. They're still very much alive in the series. The Yankees are favored in the series. We're a big favorite tonight for a reason. They had an experienced, excellent postseason pitcher who got the job done. Okay, so let's not panic. Let's not overreact. Let's not make silly second guesses. Like, it's easy to say take Quantrill out third time around the lineup. He was dominating the game early. So I don't usually like, unless they're elite pitchers, I don't usually like them to go a third time around. However, the way he was dominating, I didn't have a problem with it. It came back to bite him. I will say, though, guys, that there were times in this game where it felt like for the first time all year, the Guardians felt some nerves and played to their age. Now, it might not be the case. It just seemed like that at times. And if it is the case, they better get over that quick or they will lose this series. You look at Oscar Gonzalez, that play. First, he makes a really great play when Josh Donaldson's not hustling and the ball goes off the top of the fence. But then he, botches the next play, which leads to a run. Austin Hedges. I mean, the only reason Austin Hedges plays is because of his defense. Aaron Judge is stealing a base. He should have had him easy. A good throw and he's out. And he makes a bad throw, and then, Rizzo obviously follows with the home run later in the at-bat. But where this game kind of was really decided, guys, was way back in the third inning when the Guardians, Stephen Kwan hits the home run to get him going, and then Rosario gets hit by the pitch. Ramirez gets the double, and Harrison Bader, it kind of gets lost in the soup here, but Harrison Bader made a great play to cut off the ball just before it went to the warning track. If he can't get there, then Rosario will score, and Ramirez would be on third, and it's 2-0, and it's a different game. Instead, they're second and third with 1 out. Then the weird play where Naylor reaches to load the bases, but then the next 2 guys can't come through. Oscar Gonzalez really looked out of it today. The Guardians were not as patient at the plate. They've been striking out too much here. Not patient at the plate at all. And then the Yankees come right back in the bottom of the second inning, and Bader, who made the really good play in the outfield, hits the home run. And so the Guardians miss a chance to expand the lead, and instead it's 1-1 going to the third inning when it felt like, they had their chance. So and then the Guardians had some opportunities late.
We're going to drill down on a lot of those.
Yeah.
We want to get in-depth on that.
Yeah.
Earl, I want to get your thought really quickly, your thoughts on the initial thoughts of the game 1 loss, and are you feeling a little different than you are going into the series now that you saw what the Guardians are up against right now?
I mean, I'm pretty much like Bull. I'm not going to overreact to it, but I will say this. You got to take advantage of situations like this, man, against that type of team and those crucial moments. And this is the second straight game that we've played in where we found ourselves in a bases loaded situation and we didn't capitalize. And I think that's where the youth and the inexperience is starting to rear its ugly head. This is a team that, we're not known for our power, for home runs. We're known for doing the little things. And in those situations, you have to do the little things to capitalize on the opportunities given to you, especially when you're going against a team like the Yankees, who can change the game in a heartbeat, one swing of the bat.
You know, let's talk about this, and I want to get to the pitching matchup. I thought Garrett Cole was pretty dominant, 6 in the third innings pitch, only 3 hits, 1 walk, 8 Ks. Bull, what was he able to do to keep the Guardians hitters off schedule, so to speak? A lot of swings and misses today.
You know, when I was listening in the first, I had to the first 2 innings, I was actually listening on the radio because I was driving back from somewhere. I DVR'd the game, in case I wanted to go back and watch the first 2 innings, which I will. But I was listening to Tom Hamilton at the time in that second inning, and he made the prophetic statement, unfortunately, when he said, you can't, with a pitcher like Garrett Cole, he's not going to give you that many opportunities. So when he does, you've got to take advantage of it, and they didn't. And you guys are right. As soon as he looked like he was on the ropes early. In the second inning, he had already been up to like 60 pitches.
That was
and you're
huge.
like, they got him in trouble, and we know that the Guardians have a massive edge in the pen, and you're thinking, well, maybe they can get him out of here 3-4 innings, but he ends up pitching into the 7th. I'll tell you, if I were Aaron Boone, I wouldn't have taken him out because their bullpen stinks. Now, it did the job today, but I don't trust anybody in their pen. And I would have probably left him in to go 110 pitches potentially. He gives up the single and they take him out. But yeah, I mean that you can't in these short series in the playoffs. You cannot afford against good teams. And now the bad teams are off the schedule. You're facing the Yankees, then probably the Astros as they came back. Great win over the Mariners today. Either the Astros or Mariners. Like you're playing top teams. You can't miss opportunities, especially when you're a team that doesn't hit a lot of home runs and needs to, string together hits to get it going. So it's harder to do against the top pitching. And when they missed that opportunity, you kind of felt like, man, this was their chance.
That and Earl, I'll tell you what, you kind of foreshadowed the and we'll be talking about this in just 1 second. Top of the third was crucial for the Guardians. They left the bases loaded. In terms of the difference between Garrett Cole and what Quantrill did, Quantrill 5 innings pitch, 4 hits, 3 walks, 2 home runs is what really stands out. The Yankees can hit the long ball. They did it twice today. Our old friend Rizzo keeps he just plays well against the Guardians or the Indians, doesn't matter. Compared to Quantrill and what Cole did, what are your thoughts about how Quantrill played?
I mean, I thought Quantrill pitched a solid game. I mean, like Bull said, I thought he had solid control for the most part. I thought he was dominating. Third time around against that type of lineup, they got the book out on you now. And that scouting paid off, and it clearly turned into runs. But, back to Garrett Cole, I thought Garrett Cole pitched a good game. But there were some spots early on to where I didn't think he had solid command. And I think that not being patient at the plate, we kind of bailed him out a lot. And, Bull, you alluded to this. They interviewed Tito in between innings, and they asked him about, guys like Oscar and Naylor being aggressive at the plate. And he said, that's who they are. And he didn't want to take that away from him. But I think that you got to show some patience, man, because Garrett Cole kind of shows some opportunities to where show some, moments to where he was vulnerable, and we just didn't capitalize on that.
No doubt. And by the way, there's somebody in the super chat here. Stop the Cap says, Bull, you was rooting for the Yankees. Keep it 100. Does this guy not know me?
Yeah,
rooted for the Yankees. I have never rooted for the Yankees in my life. I hate the Yankees.
He doesn't like New York teams. Like really, like he's a Cubs guy.
Yeah,
and he watches the Guardians. Like
shout out to Stop the Cap though.
I mean, come on, dude. I've been for the past decade plus. I always keep it real. This is the only time I've rooted against the Guardians is when they played the Cubs. That's it. Otherwise, I'm always rooting for the Guardians. I have kept it real. Otherwise, I'd lie and say I'd root for them when they play the Cubs. But
by the way, 180 people in here. Hit that like button on the way in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Super chats are available. If you want to get your thoughts heard, you can definitely super chat us. Make sure that you are in the chat, and we'll definitely go ahead and get that on the screen.
Make sure you click that button in the top right, man. Get your Ultimate Cleveland Sports Gear shirts, man. We got 2 different options available for you.
Subscribe. Hit the button to get the alerts when we're doing things like this. And obviously it's late at night, but here we are live talking about it. You know, getting back to what you said, G, about and what you said, Earl, about Garrett Cole. He was hittable early. They didn't take advantage of it. And then he locked it down, as a lot of great pitchers do. And he was, from the fourth inning till he left in the seventh, he was in command, right? He was moving his ball really well. He kept the ball out of the middle of the plate. He was working the corners, got a good call against Miles Straw on a strike three that I thought was a bad call. But he made some nasty pitches, and he had the Guardians uncharacteristically chasing. You know, because he just got locked in. They had their chances early, and then once he got locked in, it was, okay, let's get it to the pen because we got no chance against him right now. That's how it felt after some early opportunities. So, you know, it's disappointing, and I get it. You know, we have the football mentality, and it's a 5-game series, and the Yankees have the history. We get it. But, you know, this was always a long-shot game for the Guardians in this series. We all thought this game would go, I know you, me, and Jay all picked the series to go 5 games, so let's not panic. Now, obviously, Game 2 becomes certainly a lot more important because it's much harder to come back down 2-0.
Yes.
But the Guardians got their ace on the mound. They got Bieber going. Cortez is a good pitcher, but Bieber's better. And if the Guardians can take care of business and get the bats going and get back to what they did in the regular season, which they did a little with Rosario early stealing a base, get moving on the bases, be more patient at the plate, get that going, get Cortez out of the game early, and get to the bullpen when you're tied or winning, then you're going to have a much better chance of winning this game. So I still think they got a good chance to win Thursday. And if they win, and if they win that game, they're in good shape. If they lose, yeah, obviously they're in big trouble. But I'm not ready to panic yet.
This is for both of you guys. What I want to do is I want to get to the third inning because I know, Earl, you had talked about it kind of in your question to the chat. And by the way, we'll have 2 questions for the chat. So you guys be ready. I'll throw those questions out to you and we read your responses on air. Stephen Kwan had a coming out game, 2 for 4, 1 home run, RBI and a run. I thought he got him on the board, but I think one of the biggest things that really, really hurt in that same inning, the Guardians in the top of the third had a huge opportunity and they left the bases loaded for the second straight series. Earl, I'm gonna go to you first on this one. When you saw the bases loaded, did you think that the Guardians were at least going to get 2 runs in it? And I thought that was going to be the beginning of a snowball because, like Bull said, Garrett Cole was pitching, and I thought his pitch count was really high for the first 2 or 3 innings. And I thought this was going to be the Indians kind of piling on. Your thoughts on leaving that many people on base for two straight series now?
So after Quan hit the home run, I kind of really thought, the nerves had settled. We were going to pretty much be in cruise control. And the way that inning was starting to, play out, I really thought we was going to come away with at least 2 or 3 more runs, at least 2 more runs. Oscar's at the plate, but he's chasing everything. He's not showing no plate discipline at all. And you can just see, once Cole got him, the Bull alluded to it. He's a veteran pitcher. He's a damn good pitcher. And pitchers like that, all they need is just an ounce of confidence to get things rolling in the right direction. And that's what happened. But, real quick, Bull, I had a question for you. This is for a lot of these guys on this roster. This is their first road playoff game. And it happens to come under the lights in New York City. The nerves was probably there. They don't come away with the victory. If you're a Tito, what's your message to that group for the next game?
I mean, message has got to be, hey, we've played a certain way all season long. We gotta ignore the fact that we're in the playoffs. It doesn't matter. It's another team on another day, and we got to play the same way we have all year. Now, yes, I agree. Some of the guys looked a little nervous. Certainly Gonzalez was swinging out of his shoes. Naylor to some degree, although he's had playoff experience. Remember, he had that big series against the Yankees a number of years ago, and so before he got hurt. And so I think that's got to be the message. That's why Francona is who he is, because he was able to keep this young team calm all year. And maybe they weren't panicked, and it was just, it was a sloppy game. And one of the 2 guys that made a huge error on the defensive side is Austin Hedges, who's a veteran. And so there's no reason he should be panicked. And again, if he can't make that play We got to get him out of there because he can't. I mean, he's in there to play defense. If he's going to screw that up, it's a problem. By the way, three quickies, guys. We got some super chats. I'll read them real quick. Shane on super chat said Tito probably should have pulled Quantrill, but I'm seeing way too much slander of Tito. I agree. I think it's easy second guessing to say. Everybody's always mad about analytics. Well, Francona went with gut over analytics because Quantrill was dominant, and it didn't work. Well, every time we go with analytics, everybody gets mad. So now he didn't. He went against the analytics of going third time around. I had no problem with Quantrill staying in the game. It didn't work out. Again, he was dominating. Yeah, dominating. Besides the Bader home run, they hadn't really done anything. It was the only hit.
And Aaron Judge, think about Aaron Judge, the guy everybody who was coming in. He struck out 3 times today.
Yeah, exactly.
It was Rizzo and some of the other Bader and some of the other guys that got to him, but for the most part,
and Rizzo's a clutch player, man. You know what are you gonna do? That pitch to Rizzo was a bad pitch. He had made a nasty pitch to get him on strike 2, and he tried to go back to it, and he hung it, and Rizzo's not going to make a mistake. If you make a mistake to Rizzo, he's going to make you pay, and that's what happened. He's a clutch hitter. He's not the same player he was in 16 with the Cubs, but he's still real good, and he's still dangerous in a big spot, especially at that stadium. But 2 other things. One of the guys in our chat group, I think it might have been Jay, I can't remember now, said, they should have pinch hit for Naylor because he struggled against lefties. I don't agree with that. The Guardians' bench isn't that great to begin with, and even though Naylor has struggled against lefties lately, he's still been one of your better hitters. If I had a great guy against lefty, maybe, but I think that's an unfair second guess. The one thing my only second guess of Francona, and for me it's not a second guess because as I'm watching the game, I said it in I think it was the 7th inning, but I just want to double check guys here real quick. I think it was the 7th inning. Austin Hedges. Why can't I find the play-by-play? Here we go. Austin Hedges came up in the 7th inning. Let me just make sure I'm right about the inning. So, yeah, he led off in the 7th inning. Okay? The Yankees just took a 4-1 lead. You're in the 7th. You got to get started there. I didn't understand, especially when you have 3 catchers on the roster. Yeah. You have 3 catchers on the roster because your 2 top catchers can't hit. And so you have the 3rd catcher as an emergency 3rd catcher to be able to pinch hit in these situations. That was the one complaint. Now, maybe nothing would have come of it. We'll never know. But in the
because he had hit the ball. Was that the line out where he hit it right to somebody? He had a line out.
He grounded out in the 7th. Hedges.
Okay.
So, yeah. But we know Hedges can't hit. He's a defensive player only. I'm down 3 in the 7th. I got to have a guy who can hit to lead off the inning. Now, again, as I just said before, the Guardians' bench isn't great offensively, but Hedges is the worst hitter in baseball. So I got to let somebody – I thought that was the one thing you could really pin on Francona is letting Hedges hit to start the 7th. That's my biggest beef with him.
You guys, what do you guys make of the errors? There's 2, uncharacteristic things that we saw today. A lot of swings and misses. The approach at the plate was something that they, we saw this team take smart swings. We saw them put the bat on the ball a lot of times. And so, a lot of strikeouts today. But another thing, the Gonzalez error in right field, uncharacteristic. Hedges throw into center field with Aaron Judge. Usually, and like you said, if you're going to be a defensive catcher, you got to make that throw. You're supposed to make that throw 10 out of 10 times. What do you make of that? Is it jitters or is it just one of those nights where, it was just is what it is, a bad night defensively, or do you see a bigger theme in this?
Go ahead, Earl. What do you think?
I mean, to me, I just think it was just a bad night defensively. I don't think that, like it says, it's uncharacteristic. I don't think that's who we are as a baseball team. I don't think that's how we're going to come out Thursday night as well. I just think it was one of those nights, man, to where things just didn't go our way. We had some big plays that ended up costing us some runs. Both innings that we had errors, they ended up scoring. So, that's just one of those situations to where it just wasn't our night. But you can't have those things happen 2 games in a row. No. That's for sure.
But in the end, you give the Yankees credit, right? You don't always want to blame your own team when you lose. The Yankees didn't have a lot of opportunities in this game. They really didn't. But when they did, they took advantage of it, right? They took, the error by Gonzalez. and then they come through with the sacrifice fly for the next batter comes through with the sacrifice fly. The bad throw on the steal that you just talked about with Hedges, and Rizzo comes through. The Yankees didn't have a ton of hits. It's not like they got a million hits in this game.
Yeah, but I was going not to cut you off. I was going to say, I mean, 3, 4, 5. They didn't have a hit at all, so they really didn't have many opportunities. It's just the ones that they had. They clearly took advantage of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a. Oh, go ahead. Well, I'm gonna throw this out, and then we'll come back and get to this. This is a question for the chat. This is the first chat question of the day. Obviously, you can go ahead and answer. You can super chat if you would like. And we'll get you to the head of the line. But this is for the entire chat. Are you worried about the Guardians scoring enough runs in this series? And while we collect some of that data, I'll go to you, Bull. Your thoughts? Is this a thing where, man? I mean, this runs are going to be at a premium.
I mean, at this point, it's 3 games. I got to be at least a little concerned because they have not gotten many clutch hits. I mean, they really haven't. And it's interesting. A team that did not hit a lot of home runs. The Guardians all season were a team that won games by stringing together hits, being great on the bases, and coming up with clutch singles and doubles. And so far in the 3 games in the playoffs, they only have 4 runs, and they're all by home run. A 2-run shot by Ramirez, the Oscar Gonzalez solo shot, and then the Quan solo shot today. They have not manufactured a single run in 3 games. So I'm a little concerned, but in the end, it's still just 3 games. And their sample size for the season of how good they've been able to do that and how clutch they've been, including winning 2 of the 3 games in the playoffs, in the end doing enough, makes me think they'll turn it around. But they don't have a lot of time because they lose tomorrow. They're Thursday. I keep expecting it to be 2 days in a row. They lose Thursday. They're in some trouble, and they've got to start getting back to working the count, getting the ball in play, hustling, running the – I mean, the hustling wasn't an issue.
Yeah, like I wasn't a thing.
But running the bases, getting when they have opportunity to steal bases, they've got to start stringing together those hits and come through with those. Once they get the runners in scoring position, they got to get some clutch hits. They haven't had any, so it's been a problem. And if they don't turn it around soon, it's going to knock them out of the playoffs. But I'm going to go with what I saw for most of the season, and I believe they will turn it around, and I believe they'll win Game 2, and then we'll all feel good when we're doing this 48 hours from now.
All right, let's go to some of the chat questions and get your responses. 225 in the chat. Please hit that like button to get this content pushed out. And by the way, we will be back Game 2. Don't worry about it. We'll get it, and we'll see if we can get the Guardians to rebound here. Brendan Horfasi. What is that? Hofreki? Is that Brendan?
Faker. I don't know what the hell that is.
All right, shout out to you.
I'm making it up.
They haven't been able to score like they have been all year. So basically, he's saying the bats have been what they were. Let's get to. He says this can't be a team that relies on home runs. Got that loud and clear. Bull just talked about it. The games that they won were because of the home runs. So let's go. Nathaniel Rodriguez says no, not yet. But like I said earlier, experience will help them majorly. Let's see. Let's get 2 more in here. My man Mike Swinehart says 5 runners left in scoring position. Anytime you have 5 people left in scoring positions, we talked about the top of the 3rd was huge. And Shane also says 3rd inning was huge because we knew we wouldn't shut out the Yankees. And talking about the Yankees a little bit, we talked to on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show today. And we talked about with the difference in the style and the clash matchup. And this is a major theme that I want to touch down on with both of you is, will the Guardians' bullpen advantage be nullified by the Yankees' power? Given this question, the Costas talked about it so much in this game about how the advantage goes to the Guardians as far as their bullpen and all the arms they got. They can throw from many levels. They got a bunch of pitches, and all guys throw hard, and all their stuff moves. However, if the Yankees can consistently get the timely 2-run home run or a single or a solo home run, that puts the Guardians kind of on their heels because they really kind of can't get to the bullpen and play from ahead. are you worried about them kind of getting behind early in these games and not being able to exploit their advantage in the bullpen?
Right. I mean, that's the area besides manager where the Guardians have a major advantage. I mean, it's huge. If you look at the bullpen ERAs for the season, it's misleading. The Yankees bullpen ERA for the season is actually right there with the Guardians. But in the second half of the season, they've been awful because Chapman fell apart. And Clay Holmes, who pitched great for them in the first half, fell apart. Michael King, who pitched great for them in the first half, is injured. Holmes was warming up tonight, but he's been injured and not good in the second half. Scott Efros, who they acquired from the Cubs, who was tremendous this year, is hurt. He's not in the playoffs. And so their bullpen is a huge question mark. Now, credit to them, it did a good job tonight. But if you go into the seventh inning tied or the Guardians with the lead, they're going to win the game more often than not. And yeah, if the starters are unable to hold them, and and the Yankees have the lead late, then yeah, that negates the bullpen advantage. However, the good news is in the next two games, the Guardians will have their two best pitchers going, their two most dominant pitchers, and if those guys pitch the way they did in the first round and the way they pitched for most of this season, then I don't see any reason why the Guardians can't win the next two games.
Earl, your thoughts about that?
I feel just how Bull feels, and it's funny that April kind of alluded to the same thing as well. You know, we had our number 3 pitcher in Quantrill going tonight versus their ace in Cole, and at least for the next 2 games, we have the starting pitching advantage. Like Bull said, we damn sure got the bullpen advantage. So if those guys, you know, Shane and Triston can come out here and put on the type of performance that they put on against Tampa Bay, and we can learn how to manufacture some runs, then absolutely, then, you know, we can play to our strengths. And I think we have the perfect formula to beat this team. I just don't want people to overreact on how things went tonight. You know, I understand things didn't turn out the way we thought they should or could tonight, but that pitching, that bullpen and that starting pitching is dominant. And I think if we could just get a few more runs on the board, we'll be okay and still ultimately come away winning this series.
This is a good question, and I want to throw this to Bull. This is almost like the expert question of the night. I like this question. It comes from Matt, and he says, do we overrate the importance of a catcher's familiarity with handling a pitching staff? We're spotting them and out every time Hedges hits. Is that something, in especially in playoff baseball, Bull, where it may be something you have to look at as a strategy? Because yes, he's calling a great game, and yes, you know, he's a good defensive catcher, but you mentioned it and alluded to it earlier. Yeah, he's not a hitter. He's not a guy that's going to put the ball in play or you know, do something at the plate. So I think it's something we got to look at.
Yeah, not at this point, because it's not like their other catchers can hit. Bo Naylor has a lot of potential, but he's had 8 major league at-bats. They're not going to start him in the playoffs when he's barely – it is not overrated. It is a very important – it's why Austin Hedges is a starter, is because he is really good at handling the pitching staff. That is key. It is not overrated. However, yes, you're right. He is basically an automatic out. I mean, he's one of the worst hitters we've seen in the last 30 years, and it's why – whether it's Bo Naylor next year or somebody else, they've got to get better at the position. You ideally want a catcher who can play great defense, but you got to at least be serviceable offensively, and he's not, and he's never been. And this has been as bad as it's been, but he's never been serviceable offensively. But it's not overrated. You're not going to go to a rookie in this situation. And if you go back to even like 2016 with the Cubs, right? Wilson Contreras was a rookie, and they didn't play him every game because he didn't have the chops defensively. You remember David Ross was the starter in Game 7 of the World Series because David Ross was the veteran, and you know, and they can't, and a lot with that position you care more about the defense. But so you can't make a switch now. But yeah, I mean, I've been saying all season that Hedges and Straw, who are both excellent on the defensive side, those 2 spots, at least one of those spots, they have to get better offensively, I think, next year.
Let's take a look at one of the bright sides, though. Jose Ramirez was phenomenal again. Just all he does is get hits. I thought the 2 guys that really showed up, and then basically the only guys that showed up was Quan and Jose Ramirez. He went 2 for 3. He just looks so comfortable at the plate. Like, you know, like he's just one of them dudes when you see him play. Like, he's a guy, like, when you go on the road, everybody might, like, play down to the level of their competition or look up, then lights might be a little too bright. But when you look at Jose Ramirez and how he carries himself with his swag, he looked like he just so comfortable. He back in his home country, just you know, playing stickball, just doing what he's doing. Like, I mean, Bull, this guy looks like he's unflappable at the plate. Is he going to have one of those MVP type series and carry them offensively if they want to win this series?
I mean, probably. I mean, if he's the only one hitting in the series, they're going to lose. But they do need a big series from him. He's been very good in the playoffs so far. He's been a clutch hitter his entire career. You mentioned Ramirez and Quan. They came to the plate. Those two guys came to the plate 8 times, and they reached base 6 times. The rest of the team came to the plate 38 times, I believe, and reached base. 30 times and reached base 3 times. So, you know, that nobody else really did much of anything, right? Yeah, Rosario reached on a hit by pitch, and Jimenez had the double early, and Straw did get 1 hit, but nobody else really did anything. And if nobody else can come through with hits, but again, the good news, the Yankees only got 5 hits in this game. Now 2 of them were home runs, and you have your best 2 starters going the next 2 days. So it's a good question. I mean, Ramirez is great, and what can you do? But he's going to need some help. He's going to need some help. By the way, guys, you know, I know some people are complaining. Some of my man Darryl Ryder complaining about Bob Costas. I love Tom Hamilton, and I would rather listen to Tom Hamilton. But like, Bob Costas is a great play-by-play guy. Everybody stop with him. He loves the Yankees. He's not.
Well, I didn't see that. I don't know.
I thought he was waxing poetic about both teams. Once the Yankees get the lead, they're about to win. Of course, he's going to lean towards the Yankees. And I didn't think he went over the top with the Judge praise. Aaron Judge had a magnificent season. It's a national broadcast. I mean, what do you want him to do?
The man hits dang near 70 home runs.
Yeah, I mean,
and
come
the
on.
team is up 4-1 in the last inning. I think so many people get caught up. I don't know. This might be a new wave thing. You guys are in the industry. Like the whole thing where they talk about, who's better at calling the play-by. He's a terrible color analyst. I think he's an all-time. Like, man, when did that become like a thing? Like, it's a power rankings for broadcasters now. Y'all cats
I grew up on
up.
Bob Costas, man. Bob Costas is all right with me.
He
man.
is.
But, you know, about Jose, man. Jose came into this game, I think, batting over 400 with 9 home runs in New York. So I wasn't surprised that he showed up, you know, in the Big Apple, like ready to do his thing. It's just that the guys around him have to step up. We have to learn how to manufacture hits. We have to learn how to manufacture runs, and we have to take advantage of those situations that's given to us. You're not going to get too many opportunities to put multiple runs on the board when you're not known for your offense per se. And when you get those opportunities, you just have to take advantage of those. And I just got confidence that they will do so. I
agree. I'm not. You can't panic about one game. Now, Paul's saying we don't like him because he rooted for the Braves and he rooted for the Marlins. Come on. Stop with the everybody hates Cleveland. Not everybody hates Cleveland. Some people do. People are so paranoid about this stuff.
They are.
Everybody hates the Browns. Who hates the Guardians? They're not a hateable team. Nobody hates the Guardians.
We'll preoccupy you guys. This is the last chat question of the day. And while you guys are mulling on that and getting that in, the question is for the chat, is the Guardians' inexperience starting to show? Go ahead and throw that in the chat. You can super chat if you would like. Make sure you hit. It's 2:16. We had a lot of people, and thanks for everybody showing up. It's 11 o'clock at night. It's after the game. It's a school night. Y'all could be doing a lot of other things.
That's right.
And that's awesome to have 216 people in here in the chat doing that. Please, question in the chat, is the Guardians and experience starting the show? While they're doing that, let's pivot to looking forward. Bull.
By the way, real quick before you do, G, first of all, there's one idiot on here keeps saying McNuggets sucks. McNuggets is awesome. You suck, so shut the hell up. And number 2, yes, I agree. Those promos for the House of Dragon was really lame and embarrassing.
I'm this bull, man.
I mean,
it was trash. Like, but by the way, House of Dragons, if you would, it's a great series. I'm just saying.
I haven't watched this past Sunday's episode yet, so don't spoil it.
Yeah, I ain't gonna spoil it too much. It's a really tearjerker.
Okay.
So to speak. But no, let's pivot and move forward. We only got a couple more minutes left in here. We ain't gonna keep y'all up too long.
Yeah.
We gotta go sleep, dog. We got a show in the morning. Make sure you watch the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show 9 to 11 tomorrow. By the way,
11 to 1. You just said 9 to 11.
9-11, 11-1. Yeah, you're right. Look, you already tell it.
You were on mountain time there, G. You're on mountain time.
I got my sleeping pills in me. I'm already slipping up. Now I'm playing.
Yeah.
Is this? And I'm gonna just throw this. Is game 2 a must win?
Yeah, I think so. You got to win behind Bieber because especially when you're playing a team like the Yankees, the odds of, and I know they've done it, but the odds of them losing 3 in a row down up 2-0 is very unlikely, and the Guardians with a young team could lose some confidence if they continue to struggle here offensively. And then in game 3, there's so much pressure to score first. So, yeah, I think if they lose game 2, they'll probably lose the series, which is not really a bold prediction. One thing I am a little nervous about, guys, there's a very good chance of rain right now.
Yep.
Thursday night in New York. And I don't want to see that game get rained out. I think it benefits the Guardians to play Thursday for 2 reasons. One, if we do get to a game 5, which I still believe we will, it's possible you could pitch Bieber on 3 days rest on Monday. But if the game gets rained out Thursday and you play Friday, he can't pitch Monday.
Right.
And number 2, because I think the Guardians' bullpen, especially their key guys, are better, having more off days keeps them a little fresher. So a rain out, I believe, will slightly favor the Yankees. So I'm hoping that does not happen and they could play Thursday night.
Yeah,
Earl?
game 2 is definitely a must win. You got to come away with one coming back to Cleveland with the series tied up. If you go down 2-0, the series is pretty much over. You got a young team, and their confidence can get shook. It can be all gone by then. So if they don't come away with a victory, I don't really expect them. They probably get swept. If I'm being totally honest with you, if they don't come away with a game 2 victory, I can see them being swept. And I know that's extreme, but that's just what it is.
I mean, no, it's not extreme. I mean, the Yankees have been one of the best teams in the league. They got power. They do what they do. The long ball equalizes a lot of stuff. So I wouldn't, I definitely agree. Game 2 is a must win. But if you do win game 2 as the Guardians, you come up with a new lease of life. New lease of life on that thing. Let's go to the chat one more last time before we get out of here.
Punk 83, you're a loser. Punk 83 is a loser.
Oh, he's terrible. Let me see what he talked about.
He said, former Indians fan here. Go Yankees. Beat this woke team. Give me a break.
People
Don't be a
still
clown.
talk about woke. Like,
first of all, even if you're annoyed at the name change, which is so embarrassing for you at this point, why would you hold it against the players, you dope?
Sometimes, boy, I tell you. Juice Springsteen, I like that name, Juice. Juice Springsteen said, the effective inexperience is overblown, but we got to be more flexible with the lineup. Tito has to bump Straw up. The lineup has become a complete gaping hole from Jose to Straw. I can't line that. And if you got Gonzalez swinging and reaching out of the strike zone and trying to do too much, it's going to be like that's the thing.
Yeah, I just don't think you want to panic. They still have lost 1 game in the playoffs. They've been consistently good offensively down the stretch. I get it. It's the playoffs, so you have a tendency to kind of panic when things don't go right for part of your team. I think that'd be a mistake. I wouldn't mess with the lineup at this point. I mean, it's why moving Straw up? It's not like he's that great.
Yeah. Two more here. Game 2 is a must win. This is from Ryan. Game 2 is a must win, but we will win Thursday. I think the young guys don't know any better to be tight or nervous. We got this. Let's see. SD Bullion says young bats pressed and swung at too many of their pitches. Bats need to be more selective on Thursday and grind out better ABs. And then finally, my man Rob Cunningham says pitchers on 3 days rest have a very, very low success rate. I remember that from 2017 World Series and listening to the announcement.
2016, yes. Generally, I don't like 3 days rest, and I don't think they'll do it, but I like having the option just in case you feel like that's the best way to go. In general, I'm against 3 days rest. In general, guys don't do it. It worked against the Guardians eventually in Game 7 of the World Series because Kluber had gone on 3 days rest a number of times, and Miller had been overworked. So, teams don't prefer to do it, and it's not ideal for Game 5, but you'd like to at least have that option. And again, if you have that off day on Friday, then the bullpen, in theory, if you want to start Savali in a potential Game 5, or you want to go a bullpen game in Game 5, they're just going to be a little fresher. So it's still important to have that day off if they can.
Well, we're going to wrap this up. Guardians versus Yankees, ALDS game 1. The New York Yankees win this game 4-1. Game 2 scheduled for Thursday. You might look at a little rain. We'll follow it either way. We'll be here for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, post-game show. We will do that on Thursday or whenever they play game 2. And make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't got to wait. All you got to do is it'll come right to your phone, come wherever you watch your smartphone at or whatever, and you'll be able to click on the post game. We're going to be back with you, all three of us. We doing overtime. We'll be back tomorrow, 11-1 on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We'll catch you guys later. Everybody have a great night.
Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Booyah!